Good morning. What's up, nerds? It's your boy, the OG GM, coming to you live at 9:30 in the morning here on a cloudy, gloomy, depressing spring morning at Site B. It is the last weekend of April 2023, and it is time to take a look at playtest number 3 from the game formerly known as Project Black Flag, currently known as Tales from the Valiant. It's Monsters! Because, there's just not enough 5e monsters. And we continue to see whether Tales from the Valiant is just a 5e clone or something new and different. And got to give her credit, Ginny D does a pretty good job of breaking down the subtle differences in her latest video, even though she does it in her usual way of having her character talk to one of her cosplayed characters. And it's kind of annoying, but it's also a very easy, good way to explain the differences. So are there enough differences that Tales from the Valiant is a separate game? And if you watch Jeannie's video, which I've posted links before, you kind of get the feeling she made the video before the latest round of playtests from 1D&D, because you can see that a lot of the things that she mentions that are different in Project Black Flag, we now see that, oh no, they're not that different, because Wizards of the Coast is pretty much doing the same thing. It's just Project Black Flag / Tales from the Valiant uses different words. So let us take a look. We know that Tales from the Valiant is going to have 2 books. One would be the Player's Handbook DM's Guide, and the other half will be the Dungeon Master / other half of DM's Guide book, plus whatever future books. We're still not sure what the difference between Tales of the Valiant is and their core role-playing rule set is, and if we really even need a Tales from the Valiant. Some people are giving Kobold, shame on you, because they claim that Kobold lied to us about what they had planned to do, and I don't know if they actually did. And I also at the first was like, wait, that's not what you said you were going to do. But now you look at it, what they said that we're going to do in January and what they're doing now. It's like, well, actually, yeah, this is kind of what you said you can do. You may have gone around using certain words to make people possibly think you were going to do something different. But at no point in time did you actually say that. In fact, Kobold Press said very clearly, before we do anything with Project Black Flag, we are going to fulfill the 5e contracts we have already made, and whatever 5e product we have already scheduled to release is going to be released. So that was about a year's worth of stuff before we even get to product that is Project Black Flag. And right now, Project Black Flag / Tales from the Valiant just kind of looks like their way to continue to use the 5e mechanics without getting in trouble with Wizards of the Coast, which again, then why make Tales from the Valiant? You already have a campaign setting that has been 5e adjacent since literally 2014. You could use the common core that Wizards of the Coast has made available and hope they don't change it. You could just use the ORC to protect you, come out with your SRD, and that's it. And then instead of making a brand new game, you could have just continued to reinforce the Midgard stuff and refocus on the Midgard stuff and just release this as a 20-page PDF / POD for like $8. But no, you're making 2 new books. In order to make 2 new books, they have to be different enough to convince people to buy them if we already have 5e, and if you're making your Common Core SRD free to print or, $10 POD or whatever. And the best way to do that is look at everybody's favorite subject, monsters. So the first 9 pages is basically what monsters can do and how to build your own. That's always nice, especially if you want to build your own, So I don't know if it needs 9 pages, but yeah, okay. I have no problem with that. And it shows the thought pattern that they followed in creating their new monsters. Now, how new and different are their monsters? So let's go to Bugbear, All right. So let's see. Right now, it uses the exact same things pretty much that Wizards of the Coast uses. Medium humanoid goblinoid. Armor class, that's the same. Hit points, that's the same. Speed, that's the same. Stealth, for some reason you list stealth on every one of these characters. I'm not sure why, but okay, fine. You list stealth as an innate ability. Senses, okay, that's pretty much the same. Perception, again, not really sure why that's there, but okay, fine. Languages, fine. And challenge rating. Okay, that's all the same. Stats are the same. Strength, Dex, Con, Intelligence, Wisdom, Charisma. We've got the 2 abilities. Just like, I guess, so the layout is the same. Let's see, you use the exact same thing. +5 to hit, reach 5 feet. Apparently, no, not random damage, just set damage. Is that something they said they were going to do? That there's no random damage in Tales of the Valiant? That just you always do that? Or is just saying, well, this is a bad guy, so he's always going to do 12 because reasons. It just makes it easier. I don't know if that's fair or unfair. As a DM who likes to make his monsters be as tough as possible, of course that's fair. I want my dragon to do maximum damage every time it hits. As a DM/player, I also love random damage, and this random damage is an innately part of the game. So I want my Spike Club to a D6 +2, knowing that I can take, run with it if I roll 1 point of damage and run with it if I roll 6 points of damage. Because, same with the players. The player could be like, natural 20, double damage, and I roll a 1 and a 1. Oh, man, I do 6 points of damage. So, I don't know. Should monsters have that ability? Just automatically, I do that. Bam, no rolls. Bam, suck it. And part of me is like, yeah, sure. It speeds things up, makes monsters more deadly. And the other part of me is like, no, the randomness is sort of part of the fun. But whatever, that's not really that's nitpicking. That's not really anything. Is this different enough? So there we go. 1 monster. Let's find another one. Let's go with the biggie. Dragon. All right, so here's a young black dragon. Dragons all have, innate abilities. We've got it as the example dragon, a black dragon. We've got each 2 age ranges for the black dragon. We've got our red dragon. And we've got something called the void dragon, which I guess is specific to them. And here's my favorite, the gelatinous cube. So our red dragon hatchling, armor class 17, hit points 98, speed 30, climb 30, fly 60, stealth 13. Why does every monster have stealth as an innate characteristic? Don't know. Immune to fire, senses keen and night vision, perception 13. Okay, fine. Not sure why I need to know that, but whatever. Languages, yeah, it speaks Draconic. It'll learn Common later. CR and PB. I guess that's, I don't know what PB means. Point base, player base. What is PB? MASSBRLEPB. Point blank. Perception bonus. Proficiency bonus. Yeah, proficiency bonus. It's got a proficiency bonus of +2. So we have the proficiency bonus here listed for every monster. So if we want to know, what is this proficiency bonus for a skill I didn't list, like carpet weaving? It's got a +2 bonus for carpet weaving. Why would a red dragon ever need a +2 bonus in carpet weaving? I don't know. Maybe it wants to make carpets for its house. We got strength. We don't have the stats. We just have the bonus. I like that. I mean, if you know that you're +4, do you really need to know that your character has 18 strength? Or is the 18 important? Because then you can say, yeah, I'm rippling with muscles. And yeah, I don't know. That's, I think that's just personal preference. I don't know if there's intrinsically any difference, since the 18 isn't what matters in dice rolls. It's that +4. It's got a special ability called Pounce. It's got its bite attack that does maximum damage. Its claws and its fire breath. So yeah, okay. Pretty much looks exactly like D&D dragon monsters. So I would say, why do I need this? Because if there is one thing that has been made for 5th edition since 2014, more than any other, it's monsters. So yeah, I would say that there are more monster books per square inch than any other type of book that has been made for 5e. And just in case we weren't sure about that, right now you're having a sale on Kobold because they're doing their warehouse moving sale. And on this sale, we can see 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 monster books. So just in this sale alone, we got 4 monster books. Now let's go to their store. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 additional monster books. So since day one, Kobold, you have made at least 8 monster books, all for 5e. And since it looks like now that your 5e adjacent Tales for the Valiant rules for monsters and normal 5e monsters that you've already made aren't that different, why do I need the Tales of the Valiant monster book? Well, we want to make sure that the monster rules are still in print. We want to make sure that we can still make stuff for Tales from the Valiant that can be used for Tales of the Valiant and 5e. Okay, I completely understand that. That's what every third-party publisher should be pushing. Even though Wizards of the Coast might discontinue supporting 5th edition as we recognize it today, you are going to continue to make product that supports 5th edition as we recognize it today. Whatever's going to happen in 2024 doesn't matter. You are supporting the 5e engine as we understand it today, as it falls under the Creative Commons, as it's protected by the ORC and the OGL, that you can still use armor class, hit points, strength, dex, con. Obviously, you can't use words like, I don't know, beholder or whatever, but there's things you can use that aren't copyright, that are still generically accepted monster terms that everybody can use, like dragon and skeleton and whatever. And you're going to use a format familiar enough that if you've already been playing 5e since 2014, buying your product will not be that difficult because you already understand the mechanics. And even if going forward, in order to be more self-defended, you're going to follow this common role-playing core SRD and fall under the ORC, do we really need you to have a brand new player's handbook that's going to cost us 60, 80 bucks and a brand new monster book that's going to cost us 60, 80 to 100 bucks if you already have at least 8 monster books already that do the exact same thing? And that's just you, because I'm pretty much every company that has made stuff for 5th edition has made at least 1 or more book of monsters, including me. So with 8 years of books behind us, on an average of, 5 a year, that's at least 100 third-party 5e books that are currently floating around there, plus everything that's coming on. Because if there's one thing people make for 5e, well, for every game system and every game out there, is books of monsters. Including Paizo, whose books of monsters could easily be converted to 5e without very much trouble. And Level Up 5e, and all the other companies who have made third-party monster books since 2014. So at the end of the day, do we really need this book if it's really so far not looking that different from anything we've already seen? Okay, maybe it introduces a few new monsters. Big deal. I've got 8 years of 100 books, bare minimum, worth of brand new monsters, most of which you made, Kobold Press, so I don't need to buy this book. I'm sorry, I don't. You're not giving me anything I do not have. Just continue to make product to support Midgard, continue to make product to underneath and protected by your SRD, and just say, look, here is the stuff that we're using to protect our stuff. Here's a 20-page POD for $10 if you want to get the SRD that we're using. But bam, you don't need new characters and new races and new stuff unless they're specific to Midgard. And if they're specific to Midgard, they will be in the Midgard books, and we don't need to make a brand new Dungeon Master's Guide, a brand new Player's Handbook, and a brand new Monster Manual. But that's just me. And hopefully as the playtest continues, we will continue to see differences enough to make it worth our time. Because right now it pretty much looks the same. And if you don't agree with me, you can go and watch Ginny D's video, which, I hate to say it, does explain the subtle differences in a easily approachable way, even if it's a little cutesy and simpy and it's Ginny D. But you scrape away all the Ginny D-ness of the video, and she does a very good job of explaining the differences and how different they are from 5e. And now, of course, watching the video, I'm like, I don't know if she saw the latest round, because after the latest round of playtest, there's a lot of stuff that is very similar in 2024 D&D and what we're seeing from Paizo, like talents replacing feats and stuff like that, and lineages and heritages replacing race and subrace and subclass and blah, blah, blah. So is there enough different things in Project Black Flag of the Valiant to make it worth your time and effort to buy a new version of something you already have? Waiting to see. Right now, it still doesn't really feel like it. Of course, you know, if Wizards of the Coast discontinues support for 5e and somehow makes every single solitary 5e product they've made vanish, then people are going to be desperate for third-party Munster books. And then, you know, Kobold can go, here's our brand new guide to Munsters, so you can use all our previous stuff, and going forward, all our new stuff will be protected. But again, that could just be covered in a 20-page SRD, and I don't need a brand new 60 to 80-page Munster manual. So I don't know. What are your thoughts? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Are you glad I managed to not talk about Wizards of the Coast? I don't know. Do we need this book? Do we not need this book? Did Kobold Press kind of rattle our chain? And do we need them to make a brand new Munster guide when they already have 8? Are you going to get Tales of the Valiant, or are you just like me and already, and like, look, unless I see something drastically different between now and 2024, I don't have any reason to get this because I already have it. Just make a 20-page SRD for PO and make it print on demand for $10. I don't know. What do you think? I'm the OG GM. If you appreciate this, let me know. If you don't appreciate this, let me know. As always, please let me know what you're thinking. If you're looking for some Munster guides that aren't going to cost you $90, you couldn't do worse than heading on over to Big Geek Emporium, link down below, and buying my Munster guides. There's currently 10 of them, well, 11 of them, that are all centric around one specific Munster plus 3 adventures. So yeah, each of those cost you $2. So that's probably the best deal you've got going for 5e adjacent Munsters. Just to head on over to Big Geek Emporium and buy mine. Till next time, I'm the OG GM. See ya.